Representative Lauren Boebert does not believe that poor children deserve a quality education.
I'm more in favor of abolishing the federal Department of Education, and getting the federal government completely out of public schools. But we're not there right now, and we do fund public schools.
To her chagrin, of course, because she just said we should get all the federal government completely out of education, no funding whatsoever, get it all out, so that, the states can say, we're just going to do whatever we want with education. If we want to turn to private religious schools, we turn to private religious schools. Doesn't matter. Just get the government, get those big government out of our schools so that we can not teach kids facts. That seems about right. And look, again, you may be like, oh, that's super, super unfair of you to say that about Lauren Boebert. And it's like, well, I would just have to respond with, have you seen Lauren Boebert? Have you listened to her talk? I don't think she can stand the idea that she might not be smarter than a fifth grader. And that's not throwing shade at fifth graders, by the way. Okay, so now, more details. Boebert made these statements on Friday in support of some amendments to the ill-fated Parents' Bill of Rights. So, a couple of thoughts about that first before I get into the details. The Parents' Bill of Rights education. Well, for one, she actually doesn't believe that parents have have rights in education. She only believes that certain parents have rights to determine the education that the nation's youth receive. You see, the people that she believes should have all the power are people that think like her. People that, want to ban wokeness in education, such as learning about how racism happens and how slavery had happened. Yeah. So now, anyway, not only that, but again, they also don't want people to, for example, lefty parents. They don't want lefty parents to be able to make decisions that allow for, children to be educated with facts, logic, and information, critical thinking, stuff like that. And so, what about the rights of those parents? Do they not get rights? Well, not according to Lauren Boebert. But anyway, so now she made some amendments to this bill, which will not pass. It won't be taken up by the Senate, which would also, unsurprisingly, ban trans girls from sports. Shocker. And not only that, but also ban them from using the restrooms of their preferred gender identity. Great. And would also require schools to publish their curricula and provide parents with the list of books available in the school libraries so they can, of course, pick out the ones that they want to ban. Yeah. Now, advocating for one of her amendments on Friday, Boebert claimed that women's sports are under attack. Woke policies backed by far-left extremists that demand male participation in female sports are completely delusional and contradict science. This allows, again, this is just more anti-trans disgusting nonsense. But let me address her claim that women's sports are under attack. Are they? Are they, though? I mean,
really?
I would doubt that. And so let me tell you what. Okay, so first, nationally, when it comes to adults, there are 1.4 million adults who identify as transgender in the United States. Obviously, not all of them are trans women. There are trans men. And so, I mean, I don't know what the proportion is on trans women versus trans men, but, you could, even if you split it 50-50, that's still, I mean, less than a 0.5% of trans adults who identify as women. Okay, and that's it. Less than a population of each state. Okay, 1.4 million adults. We do not know how many teens, children identify as trans. I think for obvious reasons, because there's a lot of stigma, there's a lot of laws that are currently being passed against them. That said, the reason that I mention these is because this is not a problem. There is no invasion, no takeover of women's sports in high schools. I just don't understand. And look, this was not a problem. The people who now suddenly care so much about the existence of women's sports did nothing to support and encourage women's sports before. So I again, this is nothing more than fake concern trolling by the right wing as part of their efforts to culture war, distract us from economic issues where we can actually agree. Most people can actually agree. So again, and it's also just an effort to be openly bigoted and anti-trans because they think that that's a path to victory. But let's get to the point here about Boebert. She wants to eliminate education. She just said it. She wants to eliminate the Department of Education, any federal government, I guess you could call them mandates or rules, guidelines, things like that, to ensure that everybody has a standardized education in this country. So the reason to do that is so they could, in red states, theoretically, eliminate education altogether for low-income people. People who cannot afford to send their children to a private school. That's the ultimate goal here. The rich having an education, people who are wealthy, and well off, whereas the poor do not have educations. So now, in this hypothetical right-wing utopia, or more like dystopia, what do poor people do? If they can't afford to go to private schools, where do their kids go? Well, you only have to look at Arkansas to see where. Arkansas just loosened the rules on child labor. So they loosened child labor laws, allowing more teenagers, young kids as well, to go into the workplace. So I believe that is the future that the right-wing politicians want. Your kids working in dangerous meatpacking plants, which is already happening, by the way. While, wealthier children, they're the ones who go to school, get a good quality education, and are able to, continue to be wealthy, climb the economic ladder. That's the overall goal here. And I know deep down, I think we all see what's going on here. We all know what's going on here. Again, the attacks on child, the argument saying, "Oh no, what we're trying to do is we're trying to fill the, there's a worker shortage." No, it's not a worker shortage. It's the fact that these companies, corporations, do not want to pay more in wages, and so instead of paying more, they're like, loosen labor laws so that we can just make the kids go to work and pay them less. Hey, dangerous jobs, who cares? Kid gets injured, killed, whatever, don't care, poor kids. Because they're the ones who are out there doing it. So that, again, is the future the right wing wants in this country for your kids. Now, one more thing here. And I just want to point out an absurdity. One House Republican, Julia Letlow, who is a co-sponsor of this bill, said, "Oh, don't worry, people on the left, Democrats, this is not an attempt to have Congress dictate the curriculum of schools or determine books that are carried in in schools' libraries." But wait, that's exactly what it is. That's what it does. It's pure gaslighting. She's like, ignore the bill that tells you that this is exactly what we're going to do, because, you know, but that's not what we're going to do, even though it says it right there. Might work on the poorly educated, but not on the rest of the country, who sees exactly who these Republicans are and what they're doing.